Want to achieve network marketing success? Then join the right company. Hello, and welcome to Leave Nothing to Chance, hosted by networking marketing giant John Solleder. Learn everything you need to know about the network marketing space from somebody who's actually done it. Join us every week for front row seats as we feature some of the finest and most successful personalities in network marketing. Leave nothing to chance. Join us now.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is my pleasure to welcome a new friend to the show, Miss Quintina Ricks, all the way from beautiful LSU country, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yes.
And how are you today, Quintina?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm terrific. I'm terrific. And I can't wait to unpack some of the things that you and I have been talking about. And let me tell everybody a little bit about you, and then you add to it. You're the founder of Quinn Management Consulting Group.
Mm-hmm.
And amongst your clients is a very neat product that I've actually tried called Rap Snacks. It's RAP
Yes.
Snacks. And you'll see a lot of famous rap artists that are associated with the brand. And Quintina's going to tell us a little bit about how all that evolves, including Snoop Dogg. Nobody more famous than the Snoop Man himself. And anyway, so let's just start at the top, Quintina. You are the chaos tamer. What does that mean?
Man, where there's chaos, I bring order. Some kind of way I have that superpower. When things are chaotic, I can bring some peace. I can bring some calm to the storm and make things efficient. So I don't know. I don't know if it was upbringing and my mom raising me with all these checklists and to-dos around, but I'm a systematic person. And when I see chaos, it's like I put a cape on and just dive in and fix it.
Now, what is it like? I mean, obviously you're dealing with lots of very successful people, some people who are successful at a very young age, and some of them obviously, get themselves in some challenges because of that, be it financial, even legal from time to time. I mean, how do you step in and help them see that the future is bright, but it's only bright by doing the right things?
Yeah, the way I approach that is, I get in and I kind of assess the client. And typically, once I assess them, I kind of look at their habits. I find out what they do know and what they don't know. And I feel the gaps. And then, and the things that are lacking, we kind of put it we kind of put it into play and kind of demonstrate and teach them literally hands-on. Hey, these are your royalties. Make sure you message your royalty report so that no one's taking any money from you. Okay. And this is how taxes work. You can't just spend all of it on jewelry. You have to put 30% to the side or more, that's not taught in school. So therefore, when you become wealthy like that, at a very young age, you need a Quinn management to come in and, guide you step by step.
Now you've dealt, and you don't have to name the person, but I know you've got one challenged client right now, and you don't need to name that person if you don't want to. That's up to you, of course.
Okay.
But you've got somebody that got themselves in some trouble. They made some money starting at a very young age. They started to make some significant money, and like a lot of young people thought, to your point, right? They forgot to pay their taxes. They forgot to pay their bills. They had a lot of children, a lot of people after them. A lot of cousins they never met before probably showing up and saying, "Hey, I'm starting a restaurant. Give me $1 million." Right? All those other scenarios that we hear not only with entertainers but with athletes or anybody who makes a lot of money, lottery winners certainly. How have you stepped in? Because I know you're helping that young man. How have you stepped in and said, "Hey, let's put the brakes on. Let's get things in order. Let's get your life in order, most importantly, because your life, without your life, all the money in the world doesn't matter." What are the steps that you have taken to slow that person down so that you can guide him in the right direction?
Well, the way I've done that is kind of like slow them down and because a lot of times, even if we're wealthy or not, we don't really pay attention to our bank statements and our financials. So a lot of times, you have to show people like, hey, look, if you're that wealthy, you don't really know that you spent $1 million last month unless you really look at it, right? And so I really I put it in front of them. Okay, this is how much we spent. This is not a tax write-off. You can't keep doing that, right? So just try and then show them how to be strategic about it and then explain the tax code, because really that dictates your life when you're that wealthy, right? So I try to slow down and break all those things down, and just kind of, day by day, show them that, everything you do is business related because you're an entrepreneur, right? And so what happens is that over time it becomes a new normal, and you begin to see some results, and those tax bills get lower and lower.
And let's talk about the other side of it. So you're dealing with people at a super high level that have obviously probably figured out a lot of this stuff themselves, probably the hard way, like most of us have, by the way.
Yes.
My industry of network marketing is no different, by the way. I
Yes.
see people make $1 million, they forget to pay the IRS.
Right.
They will knock on your door. They will find you.
They will find you.
So, but like the other side of it, somebody like Snoop Dogg, who's, obviously now, getting up there in years, how do you work with an older entertainer who maybe doesn't need the financial part of it so much, but maybe needs the career guidance of what's next? Because he's a guy, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's a guy who's kind of reinvented himself several times. I mean, I watch him, and he's a genius in what he does.
Yes, he is. Yes. You have to definitely, that's the key, reinvention. You have to reinvent yourself to remain relevant. And then, you have to have an ecosystem of people around you that can help you build out, your new identity, and you have to change in these days and ages because of technology. It has to change often and fast. So reinventing yourself is definitely the key. And that's how he's been, remaining relevant. He's doing a great job, by the way.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Yes, everywhere. The Olympics, wherever. Yes, The Voice.
You can't turn on a TV without seeing Snoop somewhere.
He's everywhere in the sponsored ads. He's all over the place, which is ingenious. That's really great because, you have to, even being in the entertainment industry, you have to have some type of plan after music, right? Because, it won't last forever. And that's part of what Rap Snacks, the purpose of Mr. Lindsay starting Rap Snacks is because he realized that artists needed another plan, a plan A through Z, really. After music, then what, right? So it's just other opportunities and other avenues to create some passive income, when your rap career kind of dies off. Again, it's reinventing yourself over and over.
And you just brought up the gentleman that started Rap Snacks. Talk about him a little bit. Most of our listeners aren't going to be familiar with him, but I read his backstory a little bit earlier this morning. He's got an interesting life story. He's a great entrepreneur, great visionary. Talk a little bit about not only him, but also your working relationship and how you're helping to guide the process with Rap Snacks.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a visionary. I mean, I believe he started selling the chips in the beginning without any rappers on there for like 25 cents or something like that, right? And then, I think he received a loan or something from a family member, took that and invested it, and here we are. And what I often say too is that it's really bigger than the Rap Snacks as well, because this brings people from all cultures together. It also, they have the Boss Up experience. It even teaches entrepreneurs how to get their products in stores like he did. So it goes way beyond that's just a tool. Rap Snacks is just a tool, but it's really bigger than that.
Well, it's funny because the first time I meant to tell you this yesterday, the first time I saw Rap Snacks, he's be 21 this week, but my then 20-year-old son is a car guy. I mean, he lives in like if I want to find him, I just look in my garage. He's in my garage all the time. Or now it's his garage. It's not even my garage, and he threw all my stuff out. But anyway, he was eating one of the Snoop Dogg brand of Rap Snacks, which I guess is hot.
Yeah, they're hot. Some of them, yeah.
He loves like Takis and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he was eating it, and I'm like, and I see Snoop on the bag, and I'm like, what is Snoop into now? He's selling potato chips now. And my son knew about Rap Snacks. Him and his buddies, like I said, they're always working on cars, and they eat Rap Snacks all the time. Is it more appealing to the younger culture, or is it just kind of across the board age wise? I mean, what's your demographic consumer wise?
Well, it's a broad age range, but for sure the hot ones are for the kids. I don't know what it is about hot chips,
Yeah.
but they love them. But then you have Master P. He has the honey barbecue, and it's different flavors. NBA Youngboy, he has a mixture of all types of seasonings in there. From the Louisiana standpoint, Boosie, saying he has some hot flavors as well. But it's a broad range, and that's the great thing about it too. It's not just a small target audience. It's really just, from the small kids love them depending on who's on the bag and how hot they are. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he's done a great job of kind of covering a broad area.
When he started that, with your support, obviously, and other people's support, obviously he started with one artist first. Who was the first one?
I want to say, you know what? That's a great question. The history goes way beyond me. But I want to say it was E40. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. It could have been. But I'll find that out. I'll find that out.
Yeah, and I'm only interested because obviously, most of our audience is entrepreneurs, whole all different industries, network marketing, insurance, you name it. We have all kinds of listeners. And I guess the point about that, Quintina, is, you had to start somewhere, right? That first celebrity who said, okay, you know what? I like the idea. I'm in, let's make a deal. Let's, you can use my name and whatever. And, here's what it's going to cost you. And that's, that's all between, them and you guys. But
yes,
you had to start somewhere in that process. And then, to get up to somebody like Snoop, who, everybody in the world. I mean, they used to do that thing. I remember when Muhammad Ali was the most recognizable person in the world. And I got to bet Snoop's in the top 10. There's not a lot of places in the world people don't know who Snoop, even if they don't speak English. It's like, oh, I know that guy.
It's amazing. It's literally amazing. Who would have thought? Death Row Records, all the things, and he just transformed before our eyes, and he's doing an amazing job. Like, it's amazing.
You mentioned Death Row Records. So you're working with a lot of their artists, obviously now.
Not so much a lot of them. It's not a lot of them. All of them are not on that label. So I'm working with a broad range of different labels. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And the first person on the bag was Master P and his son.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yes, I had to figure that out.
Well, he's huge too. I mean, these are huge names. But the point that everybody listening, remember, whatever business you're in, the point Quintina's making is they had to start somewhere. They didn't go to Snoop Dogg, one of the most recognizable people on the planet, and say, hey, come on in when they were a little tiny company. He may have done it if they were personal friends. But at the end of the day, even celebrities, if they have relationships, say, let's see how you do here, because they're not sure what you're going to do. If you do the wrong thing, they don't want to be tied to you, for example, because if you do the wrong thing, well, it's their reputation as well. So keep that in mind. Small incremental steps in business are really important in the development of any business, whatever it is that you're marketing, especially, by the way, if you are dealing with celebrities, be they artists, be they athletes, be they, entertainers, et cetera, that they want to know who you are too, for obvious reasons. So let me come back to something though, that we didn't talk about. And I really admire your company for doing this as well. And that's that you're developing the next generation of entrepreneurs. And if America ever needed entrepreneurship, it's now. We've always needed it, and we've always been entrepreneurs, but we need more entrepreneurs. I mean, I was saying to somebody the other day, the trucks don't roll, the planes don't fly, the railroads don't move, until a salesperson, also most of the time known as an entrepreneur, does something.
Yes, exactly right.
Happens.
I love that.
All those other jobs are contingent upon a salesperson making a phone call or an introduction. So let's talk about that a little bit. You guys have a thing called boot camp entrepreneurship. And how does that work?
Well, the way that works is, we target entrepreneurs that are up and coming that may not have all the tools to, really make the revenue that they want, or even the understanding or know-how to get their product to market. So what we do is every quarter, basically, is a boot camp. We go into different states, Texas, Atlanta, and trying to lure them in and then bring in industry experts and, it's breakout sessions and workshops that teach them. We have pitch competitions. Some of them have even appeared on Shark Tank, and so we teach them during that weekend, and they leave with tools. They leave smarter than they came. They have so many more resources to now help build their brand into an equitable one. Because when you start as an entrepreneur, especially watching on social media, it looks easy, right? Until you get into it. And so we kind of provide them with the tools for, the financial piece of how to get funding, how to get your brand into Target and Walmart and all, things like that. So it's really amazing. And then we maintain those relationships in case they need some ongoing coaching as well.
Well, what I love about that, I love all of it, but a couple of questions on that. Okay. One point, obviously, everybody would love to be the next Snoop Dogg or the next LeBron or the next, whatever. But that's, such a little tiny percentage of human beings that ever get to that level in entertainment or athletics. What it's doing is it's teaching that next generation, hey, it's just as cool to be an entrepreneur, maybe even cooler, and probably longer term. And it's funny because all those athletes and artists eventually become entrepreneurs if they're not when they start, right?
Yes.
I was talking to somebody the other day about Shaquille O'Neal, how many businesses that guy owns. He's another guy.
Yes.
You can't turn on the TV or your cell phone without seeing Shaq with something.
Smart business. Business.
Peyton Manning's another one. You see him constantly. So, all of these guys say, okay, what's Michael Jordan? I think Michael Jordan's kind of retired now, but at one point you saw Michael, all kinds of things. But anyway, going back to those young folks, what would you say the top couple of brain skills, mental skills that those young people develop by going to the boot camp so that they come out of there thinking clearly about I've got whatever my product is or whatever my service is that I want to bring to the marketplace. Now I've got the strategy, but mentally now I've got to go do A, B, and C. What would A, B, and C be?
Number one, get their structure in order. A lot of times they don't have the business structure done properly. Secondly would be, finances and how to get funding, and also systems. A lot of them don't have systems. Systems you have to have efficient systems in order to be able to scale. So that's one of the key ones as well. The systems is a big part of it.
Interesting. And you become at these the momager, I understand.
I become the momager. I can't help it. I just want everyone to succeed. I'm so passionate about it. I guess I know a little bit about everything, not everything, but a lot of things. And so I'm the one, reach one, teach one. I just want everybody to be knowledgeable because the more you know, or literally the more you grow.
Well, and the thing is too, when a kid has a focus, they're not getting into drugs. They're not getting into alcohol. They're not going down the wrong path. They've got that focus and that intensity of here's what I'm doing with my life. I don't care what you do with your life, okay, but I care what I do with mine. And to get that focus, and I really admire what your company's doing to perpetuate and promote that, in all communities that you're working with. Now, is that mostly in one area of the country, or are you doing that across the United States?
It's across the country. It's different. It's just in different areas. Right now it's 4 times a year, every quarter. So like I said, it's in Florida, Atlanta, Texas, and Louisiana right now. But I foresee it being bigger than that because it's really impactful.
Well, I'll volunteer when you're in Texas again if you let me know if you wanted me to come.
Sounds good.
I started my first real business when I was 13. And believe it or not, raking leaves, cleaning up snow, cleaning up people's backyards, and then digging out pools. Because where I grew up in the Northeast, a lot of people took the water out of their pools, and a pool will collapse in the wintertime. People don't realize that if you take the water out. But I would go in with my buddies, and we'd actually dig the pools out in the springtime so that they could get the walls back to the pools. And anyway, we started a business with that when I was 13, and I managed that through most of high school. And I had a lot of guys that were coming back from the military. They couldn't get jobs initially. I was at school. They were working, doing the jobs, and I'd collect the money and I'd pay them accordingly. So anyway, I got a million stories like that some of those young folks may resonate. So I'd love to support that type of thing because that's the future of our country, frankly. And And then they learn AI, and it's like, just get out of their way, and let's have another Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or
Mm-hmm.
whoever. You know what I mean? Somebody's always going to make the jobs for everybody else, but we need a whole group of people. What Let's come back to the artist for another second, okay? Because I'm fascinated with your relationships with some of them. How do you manage some of them where they say, "Hey, I make 8 figures, and you're giving me advice, okay? Why should I listen to you?"
Well, first of all, I surround myself with an ecosystem of experts. So I'm not a one-woman shop, right? And so I have the top-notch entertainment attorneys. I have the top-notch financial advisors. So it's not just me. So they bring it to me, and I take it to the team, and then we all converse to make sure. And so I'm the eye, though. I'm making sure that they're making the right decision. But I always bring in my team of experts to make sure that we are doing the right thing.
Wow, great, great, great. And great point with that too. Takes a team,
Yes.
because nobody knows it all.
Yes. Nobody.
So you bring in the top people to say, okay, top lawyers, top accountants, what's the law? What can you do? What can't brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's their future that at stake, and I don't want to make the wrong decision on my own. I have to bring them in because, it's a legacy that they're creating, and I don't want to disrupt that.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Well, this is fascinating because, like I said, that whole entertainment world. I mean, you see people who come along, they're young, they become super successful, and then all of a sudden you're in a conversation like we are, and you go, "Whatever happened to that person?" And then you
Yes.
Google them and you go, "They're 30. What happened to them?"
Yes.
And they either got in trouble with drugs, alcohol, relationships, the law, something, and they
Yes.
fell out of favor because of that.
Yes. Yes.
And then you see the others that just have their proverbial act together, and have someone like yourself saying, "Whoa, whoa, 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 have you thought about this or that before you do this or that?" Right?
Yes. Yes.
And where you kind of become that good angel on their shoulder to say, maybe you shouldn't, go to this club or this event or this, whatever it happens to be, So it's great that you're doing that. And it's great that most of them seem to be listening.
Yeah, most of them. And in the beginning, it's a little, a little hesitant. Like, first of all, who are you? Why should I trust you? And how do I know? But when you have a proven track record, they begin to trust. And I try to nurture them and make them safe as well. Because a lot, in their line of work, it's scary. You don't know who to trust, right? And so I always want to make sure that they feel safe with me. So, and to your point too about they're 30 and what happened to them. Quinn Management also works with athletes, right? So say we have some NFL guys after the game. What do you do? So a lot of them are lost.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them don't know, because if they've been playing football since they were 5, right? There's no one, the lights are not coming on anymore. It's no Friday night lights, no Sunday ball. And so I was passionate about that as well, because I was, seeing that a lot of them, and everybody can't be a broadcaster, you know what I mean? So that's the new, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of passionate about that to help them to seek other career paths as well, because they can still be around the game, but a lot of them didn't go to college. A lot of them don't know. And so we've been, working out some programs with that as well to help redirect them. Because they fall into a slump, they fall into a depression, they don't know what's next. And so we try to help them as well.
You bring up something really, really, really important too, because obviously a lot of athletes, as do I, and to that point, when you're about 27, if you're a football player, unless you're a kicker or a punter, your career is coming to an end pretty soon.
Yes.
Which is hard when you're 27. I mean, my son's turning 21 this week. I'm like 27.
Right.
And if you don't get that what's next,
yes,
it becomes a big problem. Years ago, I met Dr. Dennis Waitley. We were at an event somewhere, and I got in a conversation with him. And one of the things that he did was he worked with a lot of the returning astronauts, believe it or not.
Wow.
For the same reason, though. I mean, think about it. 1 week you're on the moon, And the next week you're back and your wife says, take out the garbage. And you're thinking, okay, what's next? And even those guys, right? And a lot of those guys are not only they're elite athletes, but they're elite students, or they wouldn't have gotten into the space program.
Yes.
But they have the same problem is what am I going to do for an encore? And to your point, everybody can't be Tom Brady or Shannon Sharp or
Ryan Clark, yeah.
Commentators. There's only so many jobs for that,
Right.
right? So what do you do next? Do you start a business, in your community? And what do you do? What do you sell? How do you sell yourself?
Yes.
And then how do you get? And here's a good question for you. Years ago, I met Fran Tarkenton. If you remember, Fran went to 4 Super Bowls, and he told a great story. He said, "I went to 4 Super Bowls, and everybody leaves by, I saw you went to 4 Super Bowls, and I watched you lose this one, and this one." And he's like, "Yeah, but I went to 4 Super Bowls."
Right. That's the point.
That's a pretty short list of people that can say that as a starting quarterback.
Yes. Yes.
But he became, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, he's in the Atlanta area. He's about 80 plus years old now, quite a guy. I'm a big fan of Fran's. But he made a great point. And he said, for the first 5 minutes, it's football. Hey, yeah, I remember this game or that game. And, they might get his autograph, whatever. But after 5 minutes, it's like, Fran, why are you here? Right now, that's an NFL Hall of Famer. At one time, all the passing records before Brady and Mahomes will probably break them all anyway. But, like he was that guy when I was a kid.
Yes.
But there's a question in here. Okay. So how do you get those guys thinking right? Like Fran's point, where all of a sudden it's like, hey, yeah, great. I remember the big game and whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like 5 minutes later, the conversation goes to nothing, where that individual on the other end, who could be a customer of that former player, okay, says, okay, why are you here? How do they answer that so that they become, okay, I was a great athlete, but now I'm a great insurance agent, or I'm a great realtor, or I'm a great financial planner, or I'm a great whatever it is, contractor, whatever it is that they are so inclined to get into. How do they make that transition?
It's like they really start from ground zero. Again, if they had a ball in their hands since they were 5, that is literally all they know. Like gridiron, that's all they know. They don't know anything else. And so it's like an assessment. Like, what do you love? What are you passionate about? And they have to dig deep. It's a deep, dark place they in. You got to pull them out of that first, and then help them. Okay, now let's think through, what are you great at? You have to take an assessment so you can even see their skills, because a lot of them, unless they would say, well, yeah, when I was in high school, I did like woodwork or or something. But if they've never tapped into anything else, it's like literally starting from ground zero and finding out what their strengths are, and then helping them and connecting them to other NFL alumni that can say, okay, hey, yeah, so you want to be a contractor? I have this contact. I have, still letting them be around the people that are familiar with the game, but have different connections outside of the game. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes.
And the door's open for those guys easy, but they gotta be able to step in and become that authoritative figure in whatever it is that they're now selling, as opposed to, well, I can brag to my friends I bought from this person, but if they did my construction job and my roof caves in, that's not a good thing. I'm not going to be too happy with them, So
yes. Yes.
Well, Quintina, this is great. So let me ask you a couple other quick things here, and I'll let you get back to your day. So if people want to contact you, where can they do that?
They can email me at qricks@qwinmcgroup.com. They can follow us at qwinmcgroup on Instagram, or they can contact us at 225-248-0102. And those are our avenues of communication, and we'll be very, very glad to help whoever get to the next level in their lives.
Great. Well, we're doing this right near the end of the year, the end of 2024. Hard to believe, 2025.
Where did it go?
Well, yeah, I mean, for the young people listening, and you remember this, Quintina, remember New Year's Eve, 1999. Well, I guess it was 2000. Remember, the world was going to end, the clocks were going to stop running, and all of a sudden, it got to like 12:01. It was like, okay, that didn't happen.
Yes.
So unless something crazy like that happens between now and 2 days from now, New Year's Eve, What would you say the number one thing people can do in 2025 to make sure that they have a great year?
I think I think not set resolutions, but set goals. And get an accountability partner to help you through it, because it gets hard sometimes. I think get someone, or hire a coach or someone to help them attain those goals. And I would say get very intentional. Get very intentional about doing the work, and building your personal brand, building your doing some self work to get to the next level.
Great, great. Well, great advice. Thank you for being a guest. Appreciate it. We need to do it again. And I'm serious. When you guys coming over here to Lone Star State, I'd love to volunteer and,
yes,
whatever time you need, but I want to help develop those young minds and that next generation of entrepreneurs that's come. Somebody's going to have to support us in our old age, so.
I mean, yes, exactly right. I love that. And I definitely will let them know, and we'll keep that in mind. I love that you even volunteered for that. That's so great. I appreciate it so much.
It would be my honor.
Yes.
Well, thanks. Hold on one second here. I'm going to shut this off and chat with you a couple other things. Thank you all.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Leave Nothing to Chance. If you want to know more about what it takes to succeed in the network marketing space, join us again next week for another amazing episode. For additional resources and to connect with John Solleder, visit leavingnothingtochance.com. Don't forget to leave a review, and we'll see you next time.